Dear students, good morning. So, as I told you in the previous lecture that we will move to the general and special jurisdiction and the exclusive jurisdiction meanings. Then we will move to the choice of rules of the law or choice of law and its relation to the choice of jurisdiction. So here, inshallah, we'll start with the first point, which is the general and the special jurisdiction. What does general jurisdiction mean, and what does special jurisdiction also means? And what is the difference between them and the exclusive jurisdiction, because these are very well known terminologies in the field of conflict of laws. So let's start with the general and special jurisdiction. The use of the term general jurisdiction as used here is better understood by contrast to the concept of the limited or special jurisdiction. So uh, here is the point that he starts with, that the both terminologies, general and special jurisdiction, are opposite to each other, as the court of the limited jurisdiction is the court which is restricted only to those classes of cases specifically listed under legislations. So it may that, for example, the court has jurisdiction over the electoral matters or the elections matters. So in this case, we can say that the Court of the Elections is considered a limited or special jurisdiction court, simply because it only has competence to hear cases with respect to a certain matters under certain legislation. اليوم لما يجي يقول لي قانون الانتخابات العامة في فلسطين إنه there must be a court which is established for purposes of hearing the matters and the conflicts regarding the electoral matters. In this case, this court cannot hear civil issues, or even it cannot hear criminal issues with respect to or in the meaning of the penal law. It has only jurisdiction over crimes, cases, or whatsoever when they are only related to or articulate to the matters of the elections or the general elections. That's why we can say that the court of the elections is considered a special jurisdiction court or a limited jurisdiction court. Okay, so this is regarding the first one. However, the court of the general jurisdiction is one that is conferred with jurisdiction over any cases except those which supply exclusive jurisdiction of another court, or that is given to the court of limited jurisdiction. So, for example, the court of first instance of Gaza, it is considered like a court of general jurisdiction simply because it has the competence to hear all kind of cases, whether they are civil ones, commercial ones, or even criminal ones. So it has competence to hear all of these categories of um cases, except for the cases that undergo the the competence or even the jurisdiction of certain courts, like for example the court of election. So if we have an electoral matter, in this case this electoral matter must be heard by the court of limited jurisdiction. However, the court of general jurisdiction, it cannot hear this case simply because it has general jurisdiction, and this general jurisdiction allow this court to hear every case except in the cases where a certain matter must be heard by a certain court under a certain legislation. اوكي، فالعام الاختصاص العام للمحكمة يعني أن المحكمة تنظر بكل أنواع الجرائم، إلا إذا كان والله في قضايا معينة تقدرش تنظرها ببساطة. لأنه في محكمة أنشئت وصممت خصيصا أنه تنظر هذا النوع من المسائل. So this is the general and special jurisdiction. This is the simple meaning of both. So special meaning, or the special jurisdiction, meaning that the court has jurisdiction over certain matters under certain legislation. However, the general one means that the court has jurisdiction to hear every kind of cases unless otherwise provided. I mean, unless this court or this issue which wants to be heard before the general jurisdiction court has to be heard by the special jurisdiction court. Okay, the question here, which court is conferred with the general jurisdiction as opposed to limited jurisdiction, is a matter of domestic law, which is not bound to be identical in all states. So uh, states are different from each other regarding their domestic laws, according to which it is decided whether this court A, for example, has wide jurisdiction or general jurisdiction, and this court B shall have only exclusive or even limited or specific or special jurisdiction. So it differs from a state to another state. In the US, for example, state courts are courts of general jurisdiction, whereas federal courts are regarded as courts of limited jurisdiction, empowered to hear only such cases that are listed under the US Constitution and have been entrusted to them by a jurisdictional grant of Congress. So here is the difference between the courts of the federals or the federal courts. المحاكم الفيدرالية عندهم تعتبر ذات اختصاص محدود وضيق، في حين محاكم الولايات الستيت courts تعتبر courts of general jurisdictions. And this is who decided that these courts are of limited jurisdiction, and that and those categories of courts, I mean the federal courts of a limited jurisdiction, the US Constitution itself. It decides which courts are of limited jurisdiction, which courts are of general jurisdiction. Well, I don't need these other examples because it shows you can read it yourself. Simply, they gave you an example for the difference between state and another state regarding the courts of general jurisdiction and the courts of the limited jurisdiction. Okay. Now the exclusive jurisdiction. The exclusive jurisdiction. Matters which fall under exclusive jurisdiction are normally those which by their nature possess difficulties of enforcement procedure, mainly due to the involvement of third parties' interest in the local forum. So this is the difference between the exclusive jurisdiction and the limited jurisdiction. The limited jurisdiction, it happens when we have a certain conflict between two persons, both are national persons, both are domiciliaries, and they are linked with the state with the bond of nationality or even the domicile. So both are considered nationals for purposes of the law. And in this case, if they, for example, have a certain matter which is um, or which must be heard by a special court or a special jurisdiction court, then it's okay. This is called special jurisdiction, limited jurisdiction. However, if we have two different persons and these persons, one of them is a foreign one, but he is within the state territory, for example, in the time of the conflict. So in this case, this is called, or the court which must hear the case is called a court of exclusive jurisdiction, because the exclusive jurisdiction, it deals with cases which have difficulties regarding the enforcement procedure simply because of the existence of the third party in the local form. So, as mentioned here, the difficulties, it may be because the involvement of the third party interest in the local form, or that certain crucial evidences are accessible only in one state. Do you still remember the fairness theory? In the fairness theory, I told you that it would be more fair if we allow the state where the evidences are existed to hear the case, even if there is a foreign element in this case. ليه؟ لأنه بيخفف النفقات، ومش منطقي إنه نرهق المحكمة بإنه تتنقل أو تروح على دولة تانية، or the evidences like the witnesses, for example, to allow to require the witnesses to travel from state to another state to give their testimony. فعشان هيك قلنا إنه هذا الموضوع الفيرنس ثيوري تتطلب إنه أحيانا نعطي المحكمة بغض النظر عن آه، يعني لما بكون في صراع بينها وبين محكمة تانية نعطيها هي الأحقية في إنه تنظر قضية معينة simply because the evidences are accessible only in this state, or it is easy to give or to provide the court with these evidences when we are in this state especially. That's why we consider that this court has exclusive jurisdiction. ليه؟ لأنه هي the most accessible one, or it is the only court which has access to these evidences, or because of the need of the local forum to handle certain cases which it thinks require strict surveillance by itself. So all of these are reasons to to describe the court as exclusive jurisdiction court. So we have different reason to label the court as a court which has exclusive jurisdiction. Number one, when there is difficulties of enforcement procedure due to the involvement of third parties' interest in the local forum. I mean, for example, one of the foreign persons exists in the state territory, or certain crucial evidences are accessible only on one state, like the witnesses or the other kind of evidences, or because of the need of the local forum to handle certain cases which it thinks require strict surveillance. يعني احيانا بعض القضايا بتتطلب انه المحكمه تحديدا هذه يكون لها متابعه صارمه من نفس المحكمه انه تتابع هذه القضيه وبنفسها. These factors to be reflected under Article 34 of the draft. We don't need this chapter simply because it talks about the Ethiopian legislation, so I don't need it. So this is all you have to know about the meaning of the exclusive jurisdiction and the difference between the exclusive, general, and limited jurisdiction. Especially, you have to know the exclusive jurisdiction and the difference between it and the limited jurisdiction, because, or the special jurisdiction. Special jurisdiction, it means that the court has jurisdiction when the case is between nationals, okay, or even the evidences, even if there is conflict of laws between two courts of special jurisdiction. um, there is no priority for one of them over the other one due to the factors that are mentioned here regarding the exclusive jurisdiction, because the exclusive jurisdiction there are some factors like the evidences, like the strict surveillance, or even the enforcement of the procedures when there is third parties interest in the case. So these factors are related only to the exclusive jurisdiction court. However, any other cases we can consider them as limited jurisdiction matters or limited jurisdiction court under the limited jurisdiction courts. Okay, thank you. And inshallah, in the coming lecture, we will give you the choice of rules of the law, or the choice of law rules and their relation to the choice of the jurisdiction. And I'll be talking more precise regarding the or with respect to the matter of the choice of law rules. Thank you very much and goodbye.